Good morning, Unity of Carlsbad, and Merry Christmas this Christmas week. My name is Reverend Robyn Plante, and I'm so glad that you're here today to join us in a time of meditation, prayer, inspiration, and song today as we welcome back Jack Nalbandian is with us today. So welcome back, Jack. Some special songs.
Thank you, Robyn. So once again, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you. And we're going to start our service today with singing Joy to the World. And I'm sure you all know the first verse, but we're going to go ahead and sing all three of them. So here we go. Little intro here. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ. Rock fields and flood, red hills and plain. Repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. He rules the world with truth and grace and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness and wonders of his love 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 and wonders of his love.
Oh, thank you, Jack. I have missed singing, and I know many of you watching out there have too, so hope you just let it out today. Sing with all your heart today. So let us begin with a prayer as we join together now and in this consciousness of oneness, knowing there is one presence and one power, God, the good, omnipotent, that is right here, right now. In filling our minds and hearts, connecting us heart to heart, and connecting us to hearts around the world. And this special Christmas week, may we feel our connection to our ancestors and the countries from which they came, and the special holiday traditions that they celebrated and passed on to us. We feel the richness of this connection of our ancestors and our spiritual ancestors who passed down gifts of prayer, of teachings, of love, of celebration of the Christ. And may we re-gift that beautiful Christ light this week as we celebrate it within ourselves and each other and carry it forth to light our world. And so we say, thank you, God, for a beautiful day, a beautiful service, and a wonderful Christmas week. Amen. So here we are, 5 days before Christmas. Are you ready? It's really fun to be out and about right now with people shopping and with the food preparations. I like to look at people's baskets, when I'm in line and see what everyone else is cooking and a lot of holiday preparation. So even though things are different this year, there's still this emergence of joy and light and creativity with holiday preparations and rituals. So I hope that you are doing that too, that you are letting that holiday joy be front and center and finding creative ways to celebrate with rituals and traditions that bring you joy and meaning. So this Advent season, we've been calling forth our Christ qualities and joining millions around the world in this in anticipation of the birth of the great light of Jesus. And also in unity, we've been preparing for the rebirth of that Christ light within us, that renewal, that new dimension of Christ light being birthed in us. And this year has such a special energy to it because there's a collective energy of opening to the light, the greater light within us and in each other and in the world. And there's this energy of wishing and dreaming, believing in miracles. It's still there. It's still there. So I hope you can tap into that. I was out the other day and there's this electricity, like a crackle of possibility. So I want to share a little Christmas story with you about a Unity minister that I know named Mary. And Mary was driving on Christmas Eve, and she noticed in her rear view mirror that there were red lights. So she pulled over and a policeman stopped her and said, ma'am, you ran a red light. And she said, no, I didn't. The light was yellow when I went through. And he just kind of shook his head, wrote her out a ticket. And Mary felt just such a flush of anger just burst forth. And she could feel her heart beating and she wanted to cuss him out. She's about to cuss him out. And, her thoughts were not pretty. And she thought, how could he give me a ticket? How could he give anyone a ticket on Christmas Eve? Now, what kind of hard-hearted Scrooge is this guy? And so before she blew up in anger, she caught herself. And said she decided to forgive him right in that instant. And so then she felt this little well of compassion come up for him. As here was this guy, he's working on a holiday, so she got to calm down, forgave him in an instant. And she turned and looked at him and said, are you ready for Christmas? And he replied, just another day for me, lady. So she responded and she said, well, I just want to bless you and wish you a very Merry Christmas. So she took her ticket and drove off. Well, the next day, her doorbell rings. It's Christmas. Her doorbell rings. And who's standing there but this policeman? And he says, I reviewed that scene and looked at the angles where I was and where you were. And it is possible that the light was yellow. So would you mind giving me that ticket back? Christmas miracle, you might call it. She did. Christmas miracle. But the real miracle is that she caught herself and made a new choice, that she changed her mind. She caught herself at a pivotal moment and not only forgave him, but decided to bless him. And when we forgive, miracles can happen. Because what's left is love, compassion, kindness, which can be ours every day when we call forth our Christ qualities. 14th century mystic Meister Eckhart said, "We are all meant to be mothers of God, for God is always needing to be born." So the Christmas story tells us that Mary was giving birth to a divine being. But Mary's not the only one. We all are. We are all giving birth to our true divine selves. So the holidays can be a time of mixed feelings. Joy, sadness, anticipation, irritation, elation, deflation. Sometimes all in the same day. So to have that self-compassion as well during this time is also important. That the gift you can give to yourself is self-compassion at this time. So this Christmas week, we can call upon our Christ qualities we've been calling forth in Advent, to call forth that faith in you, to have that steady strength of faith and seeing beyond any appearance of lack, and having faith that God is here too. God is in this too. And good is here right now. And to pray to see it more. And even if you can't see it at the moment, to know that it's here and on its way and making itself known to you. So call forth our faith that brings greater hope and light to ourselves and others. We can call forth that love, that divine love in us, to have patience, to have gentleness, to be willing to forgive, to have compassion, and to radiate that kindness. We can call forth that peace, knowing that inner peace is the greatest wealth, and that inner peace can radiate and bless others. And today we're also talking about, in this fourth Sunday of Advent, our Christ quality of joy. So the dictionary defines joy as extreme happiness. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, adds a little bit more, and I like this. Listen to this. He explains that joy is the happiness of God expressed in us. So when you are joyful, that is God made visible, the happiness of God made visible. And he also adds that joy is strength giving, especially if the mind is focused on things of spirit. So joy is more than happiness, it's strength giving. Isn't that great? So scientists tell us that joy and laughter are good for us. They're good for our minds, our emotions, our bodies. Joy and laughter strengthen our immune system and promote health and well-being. So what can you do this week to summon forth, call forth, and enter into that experience of joy? My daughter sent me a picture of her and my grandson, his girlfriend, and they all got matching pajamas. Those ones with the feet in them. They were, picture a little baby onesie, but for an adult. And they're Christmas pajamas with dinosaurs. So they're all in their dinosaur Christmas pajamas. And it was so fun. And they were always just having fun with it, And another joyful part of this was I'm actually a great grandmother now, because my grandson and his beloved had a baby this week, a baby boy. And the baby also has a little Christmas dinosaur onesie. So finding the fun in Christmas and the things to celebrate that give you heart and meaning, that touch your heart and have meaning. I think Christmas brings out the kid in us. So let your inner kid play this week. whether it's, watching your favorite Christmas film or making those special cookies. My sister likes to carry on a tradition of our grandmother, who's Italian, and she would make these cookies called cucciadaris, and they're kind of like a fig Newton with glaze and sprinkles on top. So whatever it is for your family, for you to bring forth those things that bring you joy, and maybe it's singing Christmas carols or sharing your favorite Christmas story with your family that you are with or going to be with, or seeing on Zoom or calling on the phone and sharing Christmas memories with them. To be that place where joy can happen. So this is especially important this time and this week. And in general, this time of year can be stressful, although some have said the pressure has kind of gone down because there aren't a lot of parties to prepare for. So this is especially important for us to tune into what brings us joy, especially if this year has been really tough for you. If things haven't turned out as expected, I think collectively things, have taken turns no one expected. And so you may wonder, how can I be joyful if I'm in the middle of something tough, like dealing with an illness? And I think of Myrtle Fillmore, the other co-founder of Unity, who when she was going through her health challenges, she would focus on a part of her body that didn't hurt. Even if it was her pinky finger, she would focus on that pinky and notice the health in it and the vibrancy in it and bless the life in it. And calling forth that life throughout the rest of the body. You may ask, how can I be joyful if I don't know, where my next job will come from? Well, to remember that you can never be fired from the universe. That's Eric Butterworth. I love that. You can never be fired from the universe, and your next income and abundance of blessing for all that you need is on its way. So you can bless your future employer. You can bless your future in abundance and know that it is on the way. So remembering that joy is strength giving. And when we're praying for others that are close to us, people we know who may be going through a tough time, or people who are hurting, or those in our human family who are suffering, we can go into prayer and ask what is ours to do to ease that suffering on a practical level of giving, and also on a spiritual level, to hold them in prayer and see the abundance of God blessing them, healing them, providing all that they need with resources, health, love, harmony, connection, and see them held in the light of God. So joy is strength giving, and when we embody that, it just radiates out. Joy is contagious. So there's also some misconceptions about joy that I want to touch on. And one of the misconceptions is that we think that we can only feel joy as a response to something good that happens, like receiving a present or getting a promotion or being on the receiving end of a good deed. Another misperception about joy is that we think it has to come from someone else and pass to us. That's the only way it can happen. That somehow we can't have joy by ourselves. But that's not true. And while it is true that joy is contagious, and we do give and receive it from others, And then we do feel it when we are a recipient and a giver of gifts. We know that joy is more than that, that it is always here within us as an ever-present stream waiting to bubble up and flow forth. It is the happiness of God waiting to come forth and be seen in play. Joy is our divine birthright from our loving Creator. It's our cells' happy dance of being alive, being alive. And it's important to remember that this joy can be accessed no matter what is going on in our world, no matter what is happening around us. I'm inspired by Anne Frank, who wrote, "I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains." Getting in touch with beauty this week. So here was this teenager during World War II, hiding for her life, living in dire circumstances, and still able to focus on that which gave her joy. And we can focus on that too. We have that ability. Joy is strength giving. In his book, In the Footsteps of Jesus, Bruce Marchiano writes, "Yes, Jesus smiled. Yes, Jesus laughed. He was young. He radiated good cheer. His passion, playfulness, excitement, and vitality, his joy made a dazzling display of love. He set hearts afire." Well, the Christmas story tells us that from the moment of his birth, people felt joy. People felt joy. The angels sang, the Magi brought gift. People stood in wonder and felt joy in themselves. When Jesus was teaching and healing, people felt joy. Wherever he went, Jesus left a trail of joy behind him. And we can too. You can too. This Christ within you, birthing in you at an even greater magnitude and dimension, you can leave that trail of joy behind you as well. Wherever you go, at the bank, standing in line at Trader Joe's, 6 feet apart, blessing everyone in front of you, at the store, driving down the street, at any gatherings you attend, leaving that trail of joy and stepping out of the door with that awareness that I'm going to leave a trail of joy today. I am leaving a trail of joy today, and even visualizing it as, I don't know, something behind you like golden glitter or some image that makes you smile. And to be in the consciousness of, I am in the wake of joy as well. To have that awareness and receptivity to being in that flow of joy, like a conga line of joy. So we get to use our imaginations. We do. When we let that Christ light shine, we become that dazzling display of love, that flame of joy that ignites the joy and hearts of others as well. So this is where our faith and imagination come in to be creative, get creative. I know one thing that used to give me joy that and especially around the season was seeing these flash mobs. You remember flash mobs? They would gather in a mall and just this eruption of song would happen on the spur of the moment. So those shopping would just pause with just the wonder of all these people singing at once. I remember this one flash mob that really made me smile was in the middle of downtown Toronto. People just broke out in a pillow fight with these feather pillows and feathers flying all over the place. It was so wild and unpredictable and so childlike, so childlike that there was just this abandonment of joy uh, in that moment. So we get to be creative with it. You get to be creative with it. What brings you joy? And what is one, maybe even more than one fun thing that you can do this week to celebrate this light that Jesus is embodied, that's Christ's light in us, to ignite that joy, not only for you, but for others. So in the Gospel of Luke, we read that of Jesus's birth in the manger, the shepherds in the fields, and the angels who spoke to them. And we're going to do a meditation with the symbols of Christmas in a little bit. But you may remember the passage of the angels coming to the shepherds and a great light shining on them and around them, and the shepherds were terrified. But the angel said, "Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all people." All people. So these humble shepherds had, these common people had a profound spiritual experience. And doesn't this happen sometimes when our humble everyday self is faced with this great light, emerging light, that we can pause? And how many times have we kind of feared that in ourselves or emerging and stifled our own joy? Well, guess what? It's time to let it out. It's time to let that joy spring forth. One thing that brings me joy this holiday, that I love singing with all of you in lifting our voices up. So every time I sing, I'm going to imagine us in the senior center just lifting our voices in song, as we used to do and as we will do in some day. And I invite you to, when you sing those Christmas carols, picture your spiritual family also singing with you. So in the Christmas story, we share Mary's anticipation, knowing she is carrying a life so precious, so holy. And Mary represents that innocence within us, untouched by the world, that purest part of us that knows and nurtures the preciousness of who we are, who we really are. So Mary's story. Mary is not the only one giving birth to a divine being. You are too, birthing your true divine self. So this week, give yourselves permission to play, to shine your light of joy, to laugh, to enjoy all the delights of the season, and leave a trail of joy. So now Jack will lead us in our song to prepare for meditation. Are you there, Jack?
There we go. So I'd like to share this song with you. It's written by a good friend of mine. Her name is Jennifer Whisper, and she transitioned a year ago. So right now she's singing with the Heavenly Choirs. But you know, Christmas season has always been like a magical time for me. Just the lights, the trees, and just the energy of people and people, the goodwill people have towards one another, and the parties and everything. And I believe this song that Jennifer has written captures that, and it's called Holidays of Joy. Everybody loves the season, holidays of joy, candlelight and Christmas trees, Santa Claus and toys. Everybody gathers round to see what Christmas brings. Little children teaching us what the season means. Fantasies and dreams can happen to you. All you have to do is dream a Christmas fantasy, or two or three, 'cause they can come true. You can bet your life they do. Everybody gathers round at Christmas time to sing peace and love and all good things are what the season brings. Everybody gathers round at Christmas time to sing peace and love and all good things are what the season, are what the season, are what the season brings.
Thank you, Jack. What a beautiful song. And thank you for sharing that from your friend. So let us now enter into our time of meditation. I invite you to close your eyes and get even more comfortable in your chair. As you feel the support of the chair, and notice your breath. To come even more of the light of the Christ, warming you from within. And now I invite you to let my words be your words as we take an inner journey of Christmas from the poem, I Am Christmas. Bethlehem is the place of beauty within me where God resides. The star is the guiding light on my spiritual path, which I follow in trust and in love. The manger is a humble place of simplicity and grace where the Christ Spirit in me is born. Baby Jesus is the blueprint of my divine nature. I am a spiritual being. Mary is the divine love that births the greatness of who I am. Joseph is the divine wisdom that guides my human self on its spiritual journey. The shepherd is the divine protection that surrounds and infills me with comfort, assurance, and deep peace. The angel reveals to me the great joy as the Christ in me is born. The three kings remind me of my gift of faith to follow my star. I am Christmas. Let us take this into the silence. I am Christmas. I am Christmas in the silence. I am the hope and faith of Christmas. I am the peace of Christmas. I am the love of Christmas. I am the joy of Christmas. I am the beauty of Christmas. The beauty of Christmas I am. And so it is. Amen. Well, thank you for joining us today, and have a very wonderful Christmas. I'm just wishing you all the blessings and joy radiating in you, in your household, and in your heart this week. Merry Christmas, everyone. thank you for supporting Unity of Carlsbad that makes this ministry possible and continues to keep it active. We are grateful. I also have one announcement. I want to remind you that next Sunday to tune in for our special service, which will be a melting bowl service. And the melting bowl papers were mailed out this week, and that is something that you can do the week after Christmas at some time. A good unity of ritual of release and renewal, letting go of 2020 and welcoming in with intention and gratitude, peace and positivity and possibilities for 2021. So that'll be next week. All right, so thank you for being here, and Jack will lead us in our closing song.
Thank you, Robyn. So we're going to close out with our prayer of protection song. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. And the presence of God watches over you wherever you are. God is. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is. One more time. Take it up. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is, 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 God is. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.